Hey guys, JH, welcome to Practice Tea. And it's another blisteringly hot Practice Tea. Audio probably won't be good today, guys, a lot of freeway noise. I'm out as far as I can go with the cows. If I go any further, I'll end up being a Spanish bullfighter. Okay guys, something yesterday that happened, and it was quite interesting what did happen and what caused it to happen and how the remedy applied itself. I was hitting shots, but I wasn't timing it that great. And I said to Mr. X, I said, yeah, shots are straight, but I just can't get any hit on it, and my back swing feels really restricted and tight, and I actually feel a bit of pressure in my groin and my knee. And he said, well, what it looks like to me, JH, is that your trail foot has got an orientation from being, sort of a square to a little bit flared to actually pointing over here. Now, immediately, I thought, wow. So I just turned my foot to there, and immediately the freedom and the rotation and the freeing up of my belly button in the backswing turn just happened immediately. And what I deduced had happened, guys, was that in the last week, or maybe a bit longer, I've been very much trying to set up with a lot of differential of alignment at address, so that when I backcocked I could get a little bit of torque in the backswing. But in doing that and focusing so much on that and trying to get that orientation that way, I was taking that trail foot with it, and that trail foot went from being here to there. So that put a lot of pressure on my knee and my hip in terms of being able to unlock a ratio of range of motion. And I'd actually restricted and cut off a significant amount of the range of motion. And I could feel it in here in the groin, my knee, and even in my left side. It just wasn't coming across. And it happened, guys, and it just happens in a very insidious way. You just tend to overdo everything, and in trying to get that lead side really angulated out here so I could get some torque against my hip girdle on the backswing, I just overdid the positioning of that trail foot. I just kept going more and more this way. And immediately, like instantaneously, the first shot, where I readjusted the trail foot back to what I call a flare, a trail foot flare, the striking came back immediately and the power came back. Because I reckon I was losing 10 or 15% of the strike. Still hitting it straight, but there was just no strike on it. And so guys, what you've got to do, and I keep saying it ad nauseum, is that you have to be diligent in your pre-shot setup. And that not only comes about with applying the protocol in the sequence all the time, the right amount, the numbers in the protocol, but you've got to look at the smaller things, like something like that, like those little intrinsic parts of the setup. You've got to be on that all the time, and I'm sure that's why Hogan was such a fanatical practicer, in that he knew that these little variations were things that you had to be on top of all the time. And when I used to watch Greg Norman practice when he was at his peak, he was absolutely the quintessential detail, alignment orientation person. He was just unbelievably committed to the detail of his alignment. So guys, it made a big difference. So what was I doing? I actually got this trail foot. If you look at that trail foot there, it's there. It's pointing at the ball. It ended up being there. Now immediately I do that, I feel that tension in that trail, you know, cartilage area. And the vertical ligaments there. I can feel that. But immediately I flare that foot. I feel absolutely no tension in that trail leg or hip. Now what it will look like, guys, is that, and sometimes it can, your eyes can just influence your brain and get you to change things, because if you've got your toe pointing at the ball there, in the address position, and you flare it there, it looks like the ball's come up 6 inches. But clearly it hasn't. And I've been over this before in discussing stance lines and the general visual effect of that. The ball hasn't gone anywhere. All you've done is flare your foot. But the proximity of where the club is coming into the ball from, still in the channel, is still there. It hasn't changed. So I'll go over that again. If we look at the position of the ball there, with my, and I'll get straight onto the camera, with my trail foot at 90 degrees here, and then I flare it 30 or 40 degrees out, it looks like the ball has come up, looks like it's come up a foot, but clearly it hasn't moved. It hasn't moved. And it hasn't moved in relationship to my shoulders, because watch what happens here, guys. When I'm in my back cock position here, and I move my foot, nothing happens with the shoulders, nothing. So it's an illusionary thing, but it's the sort of thing that can really have a knock-on effect in terms of how you're set up to hit the ball. And that's what happened. And instantaneously, I got the strike back and the power. Now we were talking, guys, about a lot of bugs around today. We were talking, guys, about the belly button, or the lower core, activating the backswing here. That. And one of the guys made a post, I think it was Arthur Colson. Arthur said, I think it was Arthur. He said that he used to do something similar years ago, and it worked a treat for him. But what it was, in actual fact, was not the belly button initiating the trail move. It was the lead leg, the lead knee. And what Arthur was doing was this. He was going like that. Almost like the knee was a bump against the hands on the backswing. He went like that. Now if I do that, it does. It feels like the knee is pushing the hands back. And it's clearly, sequentially, that knee and that lower body is moving before the hands. No question about that. And a lot of the old time players did that, as I've mentioned before. Because they had a lot of drag back in their swings, guys. They had this. So to get the drag back that they had, maybe the drag back was initiated by the push here. But if you're having trouble turning the belly button or the lower midriff, just try activating it with the lead leg knee across. Just like that. Now watch. I haven't tried it because I only picked it up after I read Arthur's post. I don't have a lot of trouble starting my backswing, and I'm a little bit different to, I'm certainly different to Mr. X, because I'm very hands orientated. My backswing is a byproduct of almost 100% activation of my hands. I get them here and I activate. I get them to ignite the club head and get the club head firing. That's what I do. So I'm very much hands orientated. I don't feel like I'm a one-piece player taking everything away together. But for people who want to do that lead side move or that lower midriff move could work for you. I just like to have the freedom. I like to have the freedom of the club head. Now guys, first shot of the day. Perfect shot. We're over here with the cows, so we're hitting out of crabgrass. And I've got to be here because of the sun this time of the day. Otherwise we just end up being blotted out by shadows. Yeah, so I'm very much a hands igniter. And going over that stuff from the other day, guys, the hand igniting process is very, very deliberate in that, wow, I'm throwing it back here. Throwing it back, trying to do this. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to throw it back so vigorously that if it kept going, it would hit me here. I saw that action in Hogan. I actually saw that action in Hogan. And I mentioned that to Mo Norman and he totally agreed with me. Because he said Hogan never took the club back, he just threw it back. And this is a throw. Very definite throw. Now guys, second hit of the day. This is 5-iron. And that's just flown the 5-iron tree. The dead cold swing. Talking about cold swings, I never warm up, ever. But I saw something the other day on YouTube that a buddy of mine alerted me to. And he said, JH, you never warm up. He said, but just do this. Simplest thing. I mean, I'm a qualified trained trainer. So, I mean, I teach people to do processes of stretching it. But he just does this. He just gets his arms, he just puts them up in the air like this, and he tries to get his arms back past his ear line, like that. And he tries to hold it for 30 seconds, and he does, 3 or 4 of them. And guys, really, it opens your chest. You can feel it in your rotator cuffs. Just so simple. And the other thing he does, which is crazy, you want to make sure no one's around when you're practicing, but he does this. He does this. Free hinges here, free hinges here. And he said, I just do 50 of those. And guys, it's just, I did it yesterday when I came here. I didn't do it today. But I bet just after that, because I'm very tight, because I do a lot of, training that makes me tight. I don't train for flexibility, I train for power and bone strength. But I bet just after that little bit there, I'll be freer again. So just an aside, guys. So simple. And the other thing, of course, to free up, the hip extensors and the lower back, just the conventional squat. Just a conventional squat. Try and get the butt down as far as it'll go, touched. In Australia we call that ass to the grass. In a general squat. And then hold it down there, guys, for a nice deep squat. here. Oh, I can feel all my quads and all the ligaments in my knees and tendons, lower back, really stretching out. Down here. Oh. And if you do 20 of those or something before you hit, you'll really be loosened up. I do that in my general training regime anyway. So guys, just as an ad, if you can feel the club doing this as you ignite it, here, what would you have to do? How vigorous would you have to ignite the club and get it free flowing and throwing back? How hard would the throw have to be to achieve that? Now I'll try and do that. Probably mishit this, but I will actually try and get the club back there. I won't, but that will be my endeavour or my intention. Okay, flare that foot out, JH. Ball just hasn't moved. Now clearly, I'm not getting back anywhere near where I thought there, because I haven't got a program to do that. But I'll try. Okay, now if I smooth that out, the smoother I take it back, but still with the aggression, which what I termed the other day control venom. If I can do that, I'll get a longer range of motion in the swing. So I'm going to throw it back, but I'm going to throw it back slower. Flare that foot out, JH. Guys, I wish I had the camera shooting down breeze here today, or down line. There's a blue sky. Sun might be a bit high, but they're just perfect golf shots for that dead flush centre. And what does the backswing feel like? Does it feel out of control? It just feels like there's no intention or commitment to doing anything with the club head. Just throwing it back there. I'm not trying to position it. All I'm trying to do is throw the head off the shaft. Just throw it back here and hit myself in the body if I possibly can, as a feeling. That's all I'm trying to do. Taking the club back with gay abandon. Here we go, watch this. No movement on that, guys. No movement on that shot at all. This is actually a nice aspect here. I don't normally hit this way, but it's actually quite nice. Beautiful, just a little slight breeze coming across here today. It's very hot, it's about 32, 33 degrees. All right, now we've loosened up. We'll take it way back. And guys, the reactive rhythm. You know, we take the club back, we throw it, then we turn against it. We're not trying to bring the club back. The body brings it back. Well, I've never swung better than that. I have never swung better than that. And I had a guy here not long ago that I gave a lesson to, and he's a conventional player. And I had to go through some conventional stuff with him, and I had to hit some shots from a conventional position, and boy, it felt awful. It just felt awful. I mean, I hit the ball okay. He thought it was great, but compared to the channel lock strike, it just felt because I felt like everything's loaded over here now. If you get set up conventionally with a forward ball position, I feel like I'm here. I want to feel here. I'll just hit a conventional one. It feels terrible at address. I've still got a little bit of shutdown. See, I can't even get to the ball now. I feel like I'm going to whiff the ball. Okay, that was a perfect shot, but bear in mind I've hit millions of those over the years with that, millions of that type of swing. So I've got a bit of expertise in that. But I couldn't guarantee if I was going to hit 20 of those shots that I hit them all like that, because I know I'd probably get a little pull or whatever in it. But I'm never going to get that with channel lock. But it was interesting to go back to the old feel, and I didn't like it. And I could feel immediately. And you see the knock-on effect there even when I did the conventional setup, guys? When I did the conventional setup, I still had that's very much Jim Venitos. He has the closed shoulders, but a forward ball position and loaded left. This is Jim Venitos. He's here. Now, I don't know how you get to the ball then. I don't know how you get there. I'll try it, just for fun. That's awful. Absolutely awful. And I felt like I was going to go straight over the top of the ball. What that did this morning totally convinced me that the direction I've taken with channel lock is absolutely, without question, the correct direction. Conventional golf swing, conventional ball position feels terrible, and conventional weight distribution feels even worse. I mean, I could never play with it again, guys. I just couldn't do it. And the channel lock protocol is so strongly embedded now, it just wants to override the old process anyway. All right, we're going to throw this back as hard as we can, as low as we can, and with as much gay abandon, as they say, or they used to say. Okay, flare that foot, JH. It's just such a good strike. And that feels like a 3/4 swing. Come on, JH, take it back. Well, that's gone 3 iron distance. I get these things when I do get, may not feel further back, but it feels more load, and it just explodes. I can get that feeling in the driver sometimes. It doesn't matter if I have a 20-yard difference in the driver distance. It doesn't matter. But clearly I'm not getting back as far as I'm demonstrating here. I'm not doing this. But if you do that, guys, do that. Frees up the wrists. Look at that. Okay, last shot. Come on. Flare that foot. Big flare. It's nice at my age to be able to hit the ball the same distance I did, 25 years ago. Okay, the equipment helps, no question about that. But the efficiency of this swing, even though my swing is nowhere near as long as it used to be, the efficiency is far greater. My old conventional golf swing was here. Okay, last shot. Come on, really whip it back, James. Now, Mr. X said yesterday, I said, boy, that feels quick and abrupt. He said, well, if you can make it more quicker and more abrupt, do it. He said, because that suits you. That suits your golf swing. So I'll try and be very quick and very aggressive. Come on, James. Flare that foot. One more. It's amazing, come out dead cold, and well, it's not cold, it couldn't be cold, but I mean, not warmed up swing wise, and it's still hit the ball straight every time. Last shot, come on. Nice big full backswing. Line it good. Flare that foot. Okay guys, just a couple of things today. Always doing stuff. And the little bits that may be the little golden nugget for you. May suit your swing. And that's why I keep giving little bits. You know, the standard protocol may not suit anybody else, but a slight variation to it could make all the difference to an individual swing. So that's why we constantly are evolving and changing and just giving little different things that you can apply. Okay guys, have a look at that and let me know what you think.